as far as I'm concerned, the most useful 25 minutes of my day.
Having to go to the board. And at the meeting this afternoon, I'm proposing to raise it, if that's all right.
Non, c'est ce que je cherchais justement, et il n'y a pas moyen. J'ai l'impression qu'il est pas.
Might I remind heads of departments that we have the head of departments meeting at 2:15 this afternoon in the Millington Drake room. I've been talking with the headmaster of Winchester about the Eton-Winchester match, which, as you know, has taken place at Winchester at their request for several years now, because it's their festive day. They would now like to revert to the old system whereby we play home and away on alternate years. And talking of home and away, the headmasters' conference is in Aberdeen this year. And I shall be away on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
As far as the boys are concerned, they know that there is one moment in the day, too, when they can find any master with whom they may have a moment of business, and if they gather on the pavement outside School Hall, he will come through those doors very, very, very quickly. So it's a very useful thing for boys as well. The boys, I'm told, believe that the masters have a sybaritic time in chambers, either drinking port or sherry. I'm afraid that that's absolutely untrue. It's all much more mundane. The masters simply circulate around, and by long tradition, if you want to speak to a master, you grab the sleeve of his gown, which, as it were, establishes your place in the queue. And occasionally, of course, you'll see one master with somebody holding onto his gown and somebody else holding onto the gown of the other master. Rather quaint.
There's a list of names, sir, and the money box with the most money.
Yes, all right.
Good man, sir.
I know.
We got an interview with Dr. Boyd, the school psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And have you heard anything from the head man?
No, not yet. I haven't.
Left.
No, I imagine he'll probably write back to you.
Okay, and what do we do about getting people to type out the...
Well, last half we had someone on the job all the time, and we actually paid them to do it as well.
Right.
But the terms are negotiable. Okay. I think James Hall knows how to use one of the word processors. You could ask him.
You know that, mate.
It's a JOK you said in your letter.
Are they being taken down?
Who took them down?
Who's the head man?
No, I think they're fine.
But how many did you have up?
I saw quite a few
I
up
had
before.
6 up here. Guildford was looking here for about 15 minutes trying to
They
rip
probably
them down.
enjoyed it. Depends what sort of thing you're
Peter
into, I
Feely.
guess.
Do you think they'll take them all down?
If the head man says anything, stick
Will
up.
they take them all down?
I don't know, I'll talk to them about it maybe.
And that represents adultery about to happen. Now, the implication there is it wrong heterosexual sex? When you come to this side, you get the alternative, which is effeminacy of varying kinds. So you have the castrato singer, a eunuch, singing away to the accompaniment.
It looks like there's trouble over Tom's posters.
Is swooning while she walks.
Somebody's been taking them down, and he's now on the bill for it. That means he's got to go and see the headmaster.
The beauty of a boy's voice and the power of a man.
chapel has always been important at Eton. Indeed, when Henry VI founded the school, the chapel was every bit as much in his mind as the provision of education for the 70 scholars he was going to train to become leaders in church and state. It's still important today. I won't for 1 minute pretend that all Etonians are godly any more than other young people. Some are fairly hostile to religion. The vast majority are prepared to be persuaded. Remembrance Sunday is a big occasion at Eton. It's one of those occasions where the whole community comes together.
Going down in the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
But that's the whole lot, is it, Syndicate 5?
Excuse me, why is number 5 number 13?
Come on, mate, let's go.
Got the number. What number are you, Sunshine? 6. 6. Sign for 6 then. Who's number 5?
Okay, listen in. When I give you go, what I want you to do is I want you to go in between the Land Rover and this blue van here, touch the wall to the rear over there, and I want you formed up, or as you were, stood on your chair in the classroom. You know where that is. Last person, 20 press-ups. Stand by. I'm touching that wall first. Go! Where you go? Come on, move it. Let's go. Don't knock me over. Prove yourself, you. You made it. You're ready to build. Come on, let's go. Come on, you should already go.
I think you're winning. Go. Unload. Wait.
So let's go.
Get ready. Arrange. Don't stop. Arrange. Arrange to the next guy. Go. No.
Come on, we slow down. Come on, we slow down, please.
Right! Turn! 1, 2, 3, 1!
Don't smile. It's not funny. It's pathetic.
People think there's an Eton type, but that's not really true. There's two types of Etonian, if anything. There's the sort of meathead macho sport guy who goes to TAP and joins the cadet force. And there's the arty type who wouldn't be seen dead on the playing field. And of course, some people are a combination of both, but not me.
Will, I try.
tried the wash and that didn't work. Well,
I like the wash when you had that blue wash.
No,
this
but the
morning.
blue was too blue, I thought.
Okay.
And then I've tried the plain white and that didn't work, so I'm just seeing what the plaster looks like. And if I don't do that, I might move from a blue on the outside into a brown.
It's all right.
Well, what do you think, texture or white?
I think you need texture of some kind.
Cold.
A cold colour to emphasise the warmth of this.
Right.
Okay.
What do you mean by putting up a poster like that? Do you actually think that's the right thing to do?
Not really. I know it's bad, and I know it's wrong of me because I broke schools and stuff. And but it was really the only way of getting attention for the magazine.
And is your magazine going to be similar to the poster that you put up?
No, not at all.
Well, aren't you then guilty, if nothing else, of false pretenses and trying to pretend to the school you're publishing a magazine advertised by nudes?
The only way to get people to subscribe is to put out a risque advertising campaign. And really...
It's simply quite unacceptable. You've plastered this all over every public place in Eton. It's a poster described to me by various people as obscene or pornographic, and even if it's not that, it's certainly in very poor taste. You've broken innumerable school rules in putting up your poster. What I'm more worried about, and I think this probably means the end of the Arts Review, what I'm more worried about is that you don't seem to acknowledge that that poster was unacceptable. You merely say that you think, for some reason, that it would inspire more people to subscribe, and it doesn't seem to me that you in the least mind about it.
I know we do. When he was in it, we just did it to get people to notice it, so they knew that it was going to be a different type of magazine. We didn't foresee that so many people would be offended. Because, I mean, it's not pornographic. And
it's pornographic or not, it's absolutely unacceptable, there's no doubt
I know
about that.
Yeah. We were wrong. I mean, I'm not claiming that I'm not trying to justify myself. We did wrong. I mean, we committed something that we weren't allowed to do.
Well, is there any reason, do you think, why the Arts Review should continue?
So we can redeem ourselves, I suppose.
Well, I think that's quite a good answer. I tell you what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some chores to do for the various school rules that you've broken. I'm going to accept, slightly against my better judgment, that this is a mistake you're not going to repeat. But I am going to say this, that this first edition of the Arts Review is the Arts Review on probation. And if it's not as good an edition as it ought to be, and in particular if you step out of line in any silly way, then I think you can take it that that is, unfortunately, the end of the Arts Review.
Dear Headmaster, I would just like to apologise for my advertising campaign for the Arts Review. I spoke with the Lower Master earlier today, and we both agreed that it was not only wrong on my part, but a pretty stupid thing to do anyway, considering the timing of it. I had not realised that people would actually be offended by my posters, and so I was very naive not to foresee that.
Tom, what happened with the headmaster?
He showed it to me.
Quite frankly,
He flashed it up and he said, "So by this poster, do I take it that your magazine's going to be pornographic?" I said no.
Did he say, why did you do it, Tom?
Yeah.
Is he saying if it's not good enough?
Yeah, he said we're on probation.
Good.
Yeah. I suppose.
Well, he's really going to be. So you're going to have to be good and sort of censor any word that's.
Yeah, but I know we got an article on. Are you the perfect lover? Which I don't.
Oh God!
Which I'm not writing that, but it's going to be one of those. If you scored from 0 to 30, please count yourself a dead loss.
どこに行きますか？京都の支社に行きます。一人で行きますか？私の人と行きます。大阪にも行きません。大阪にも行きますか？
Возвращение на родину по-прежнему остается несбыточной мечтой для многих тысяч азиатских рабочих. Многие из них оказались в палаточных лагерях в Иорданской пустыне, где ситуация с каждым днем осложняется.
Okay, anything there? Obviously, you can see what it's about.
When he says Yona Zaliva,
That means the zone of the Gulf, but sometimes you call it Zialiv. So what is the actual word? Is it Zialiv?
No, the word is Zaliv. That's the nominative. That is the genitive case, because Russian, as you know, is an inflected language. So this is the zone of the Gulf. So if you hear a familiar word with an unfamiliar ending, now you know why it changes. It's because it's in a different case. Okay, let's go on then. Дальше.
I'm a bit of a lefty, and in Eton that's a fairly rare thing, although I think the left-wing component is growing slightly. People regard me as a bit of a maverick here. I set up recently a society called the Discussion Forum. We have a number of current affairs societies here which invite a speaker down to give a lecture and then answer questions. And the special thing about the Discussion Forum is that it invites 3 or 4 experts in a particular field. I'm arranging one at the moment on the Gulf crisis. I really enjoy it because I'm interested in current affairs, and I just like the fun of organising something like this and of chairing it. I suppose I'm a bit of a megalomaniac.
Hello, my name's Piers Torday, and I'd like to welcome you to the 11th edition of the Eton News. You've bought the badges, seen the posters, read the news, heard the news... Oh, sorry.
Right, last one, hopefully. Hopefully. Until we get across the road.
Hello, my name's Piers Torday, and I'd like to welcome you to the 11th edition of the Eton News. You've bought the badges, seen the posters, read the newspapers, heard the news, the Gulf crisis, Saddam Hussein, Iraq, Kuwait. But what exactly is it all about? In mid-September, a number of people involved met at the Discussion Forum to consider the crisis. We took our cameras along, hoping for an exclusive.
Tonight's speakers are Sheikh Mohammed Al Sabah of Kuwait, who is at the moment based at the embassy in London, Sir John Moberly, former ambassador to Iraq and to Jordan, who was also a political officer in Kuwait in the 50s. He currently works at the Royal Institute of International Relations. Dr. Peter Sluglet is lecturer in modern Middle Eastern history at Durham University. And Mr. Afif Safia is PLO representative in the United Kingdom. He's just joined us.
It does sometimes strike me that, we are a privileged place and we do get a lot of special things that people in other schools around the country can't get. I mean, not only because of merit, but also because of parental wealth. I have problems with that. I'm not sure whether it's totally morally right.
If I could address Mr. Safia, I see that the situation in Palestine that doesn't exist, is similar to the one in Kuwait, and I agree that the West shouldn't have a set of double standards. But I can't see that it has any direct bearing on the Kuwaiti crisis.
Sorry. Pick that up now. Excuse me. I'd say I told you to empty that, you two. Now move it.
Well, I'm just going to drink it out, Carol. I don't want to waste my money.
Wait a minute. I'll finish it. I've been told. Time off there. Look at the hot crowd that they're off. They're from
We should provide some way out, because otherwise, in the light of Vietnam, fighting it out may seem an attractive proposition.
Well, I think that it is important that we should pursue all possible diplomatic alternatives.
No, to edit his answer.
Okay, fine. I think we do have to remain firm on one thing.
Chop down that stuff. Does it start off as if it's the beginning of the answer?
No. Well, yes, it can, yes. I think it does.
We should provide some way out, because otherwise, in the light of Vietnam, fighting it out may seem an
It's actually rather a good point to cut in, because it answers the question as well.
Well, I missed you at Chambers yesterday, and I tried to come last night, but I didn't think
I mean, I can hardly, frankly, bear the look at you because you've been so slack and idle.
Yes.
I mean, I just, you're miles behind with your work, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, you've got a terrible lot of catching up to do. Have I had your notes?
Those are the notes are there.
I mean, I realise you've got other things to do, but honestly, we must keep up with it.
Yeah, and I'm cutting down on everything else now because I've just neglected that, I realise.
All right.
So, do you know I could have one more extension on my essay until tonight?
Oh, dear.
Because I'm halfway through it and I've done all the notes. I've done all the notes we have to do for today.
Have it by lock-up tomorrow without fail.
We'll have by lock-up tonight, so.
Right, all right.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, the typical thing about the posters they put up. The editors would also like to apologise for any offence caused by their recent advertising campaign, which was both flamboyant and mistimed. Whatever that means.
Mistimed because you were here.
Yeah. It wasn't.
Quite a senior boy in pop was wants to write an article about AIDS. He was given the go-ahead as long as he didn't mention sex or condoms.
He wrote it, and then the words like condoms were taken out. He wasn't allowed to talk about sex. Eton boys don't have sex.
Eton boys do not have sex.
Yeah, obviously.
Even in the holidays. It's something we don't think about.
Yeah. Not living with girls. You only see one side of anything. And I'm sure it can hinder your sexuality.
You're conditioned against girls, but then, I don't know, if you back away from that towards homosexuality, then you're even further pushed back into, you're sort of crushed in the middle. And the thing against homosexuality is so much stronger than anything else in this school.
You go to an away match or something, and you have communal showers, and all the guys from Stowe or something, get in the communal showers and they have a shower, and all the guys from Eton sort of standing on the corner with their rugby shorts on, going,
It means there's a massive hang-up about nudity.
Yeah.
I mean,
which most other schools
other schools don't have.
Coming back after my first holidays, I wasn't looking forward to the kind of first few days, getting sorted out back into the routine and waking up at 7:30. But when that's over, it's really good fun, and you just think of what would I be doing if I was at home. It would be very boring.
It's the Times and the Express.
Alex? Yeah, I've got it.
I am delighted to be once again at Eton, this time to celebrate with you an anniversary so notable that not even the most frivolous Etonian could let it pass without paying it due deference. But I dare say that you Etonians will be thinking less of those who have gone before you than of the present and future. It has always seemed to me that one of the virtues of Eton's system is its determination never to patronize youth, nor to underestimate its capacity for invention and imagination. Because those qualities are given full rein here, the rituals can acquire a meaning and the regimentation a soul.
I still think being here is too far removed from the outside world. I wouldn't send my son here. But then that's what my father said 25 years ago.
Hello, is that the American Embassy press office? Yeah, right. I'd like to find out an address. Hello, I wonder if you have an address.